The Reserve Bank today unveiled that bold plan to scrap all surcharges on credit and debit card transactions that use EFTPOS, MasterCard and Visa. Now, the plan also lowers the cap on interchange fees paid by business and proposes that card networks and banks be forced to publish the fees that they charge. So here's the Reserve Bank Governor, Michelle Bullock, explaining those changes today.
There's a number of key challenges in the payment system today, and they include difficulties in avoiding card surcharges, as fewer Australians are using cash to pay for things. There's the high cost of accepting card payments, and this is especially the case for small businesses. There's also difficulties for businesses in comparing or switching payment providers to find better deals, and greater transparency of costs could help here. So we think the time's come to address some of these high costs and inefficiencies in the system. So we're putting forward today 3 key proposals. The first one is to remove surcharging on EFTPOS, MasterCard and Visa cards. This could save consumers $1.2 billion annually. It would simplify payments and it will boost competition. The second thing is we plan to lower interchange fees to reduce businesses' payments costs. This change could save businesses $1.2 billion a year, with around 90% of businesses which accept card payments being better off. And the third thing is we're going to require card networks and other payments providers to publish their fees. Transparency from these providers will help businesses find the best deals and encourage competition.
But all this brought an immediate backlash from the business community.
At the moment, surcharges are not applied equally to smaller and large businesses. Many small businesses pay much more in terms of surcharges as a percentage than larger businesses do. So at the moment, small business is not getting a fair break.
And the most vigorous response came from the Council for Small Business, which says a ban will see small operators still absorbing payment costs. COSBOA's chair is Matthew Addison, who joins me now. Matthew, many thanks for your time this afternoon. You say that small business will still have to absorb costs. Why would there be cost if all these surcharges are basically going?
Well, the surcharges aren't going anywhere, Ross. What the RBA has talked about is a ban on the small business charging those costs to their customers. Hiding those costs by banning them simply puts them into the overheads or the operating costs of the small business. Hiding the cost doesn't remove them. However, we do like the Reserve Bank talking about reducing the interchange fee. So if that fee comes down, that's going to save business some money and the consumers some money. However, merchant fees have more than just the interchange in it. You've got the cost of the terminal, you've got rental, you've got transaction fees, you may have finance fees in there, you've got other service fees. We really like the Reserve Bank calling out for transparency of the costs. If we can get more transparency and we can also get the merchant service providers actually pitching for the business of the small business, give them a number of options. Here's the plan you're on. Here's the plan that will actually save you some money. We have a very opaque system. A lot of the costs are buried in the detail, and we look forward to this consultation of the Reserve Bank surfacing some of the better options. Banning surcharges alone doesn't solve it, Ross.
Just take me to one aspect of this, and that is, let's say, for example, you say there's a whole lot of other charges, which I acknowledge are there. Now, the reality is that if surcharges do disappear, it's going to be that the small business will add the cost on in other ways. But to the point that was made by the Australian Council of Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Andrew McKellar there, he says broadly big business pays in percentage terms much less than small business does.
Andrew's right on the money. So what we hear is in an openly competitive environment, the large businesses, some of which have got banks inside their infrastructure, pay a far lower cost than a small business can actually achieve. So we don't have, to use that term, the level playing field, different costs charged by the same provider based on the size of business. And clearly we don't think that the family business, the self-employed person, should be disadvantaged because of these hidden charging systems and the disparity between big and small.
Okay, but isn't this also about the reduced use of cash, which broadly was a relatively free way for consumers to be able to buy goods and services, and the relatively reduced use of EFTPOS as well? And as a result, people are now using debit cards and credit cards more, which incur these costs.
Look, there's a number of concepts in there. They paying by cash. Businesses still have a cost of dealing with that cash, of either banking it, and the actual costs of banking cash have actually increased. There's also difference, as you alluded to, between debit transactions. And there's a difference in the cost structure whether your terminal is using the Australian debit processor or using an international processor. COSBOA for a long time has called for least cost routing, and that means that the merchant service provider actually uses the lowest cost option for the small business.
That'd be good. I'll tell you what, Matthew Addison from COSBOA, no doubt we'll talk about this again. Many thanks for your time today.
Please do, Ross. Thanks.